back in my old life when I worked afternoons at WIP, I would take the kids to school in the morning. Now I picked them up from school, working in the morning, but I would drop them off either at the bus stop or I would drive them to school. I'd try to get them at the bus stop once or twice a week. And talking to the dads at the bus stop used to be kind of my metric or my barometer for what people are saying or thinking about our teams, right? So after the Eagles lost the Super Bowl, and my guy Seamus was so angry that Nick Sirianni was crying at the Super Bowl. He still texts me about it. He still texts me to this day. Anytime the Eagles will send me a picture of Nick Sirianni crying. But I think it's a good measuring stick of what people think about the teams and what people are saying about the teams. Same thing with going to Wawa in the morning, the day after an Eagles game. You're getting coffee in the coffee area. What are people saying about the teams? What are people saying about the Phillies? Well, yesterday I'm waiting in line to pick up my youngest from nursery school. And one of the guys, he also has a son that plays football, and I see him on Saturdays all the time as well. We start talking about the Phillies. And the more I talk about the Phillies, the more sad I get. It's really weird. After the series, after they lose to the Mets, you have some anger. You have some, like, all right, like, this is BS. They should have beat the Mets. They should be in the NLCS right now. This isn't, they're like, what the hell's going on? What are they doing? What's Rob Thompson doing? Right. But then you take the emotion out of everything. And Tyler and I were actually talking about this before the show. When they lost the World Series, even though they were up 2-1 and they were at home and they had a great chance to win a championship, the Astros were the better team. So I remember after the series, yeah, we were mad and we were upset. Maybe even we were angry that they lost. But I think when you took that step back and a week after the series was over, you said, I know I said this, Astros were the better team. They just flat out were. They deserved it. Last year against the Diamondbacks, you can't say the same thing because they were not the better team. The Phillies totally blew that. But when you're looking at this loss and kind of going back and forth with them, you get more and more sad. And here's why. Like, I'd said this last week, or maybe it was even the week before. I don't know. But I'd said that this team right here, this Phillies team, this core, this group, the window has closed on winning a championship. And man, people got mad. People got really, really angry with me. And it's like, all right, I'm just telling you, like, I think that their best chance to win a championship has passed them, which is really, I guess, what I could have said, or like, it's semantics. It all means the same thing. But this team's best chance to win a championship has passed them. It has. I watched the Dodgers and the Mets. I'm watching the Yankees and the Guardians. And baseball's year to year. I get it. The Phillies could end up being the hot team next year and look totally different. But there's no thought in my mind that, well, damn it, if the Phillies could have just figured out the Mets, they could be in the NLCS against the Dodgers and go into the World Series. They would lose every game they would play to the Dodgers. The Dodgers are thumping the Mets right now. Beat them again last night 3-1. Mets are walking everybody. Like, the Phillies weren't going to win this year. And I still think the Phillies are a good team and a playoff team next year, but their best opportunity to win a championship is gone. They were in the World Series, up 2-1 on their home field in 2022, and they lost. They were up 2-0 in the NLCS against an inferior Arizona team that didn't make the playoffs this year. They came back to Citizens Bank Park needing one win in their final 2 games. They were that close to going up 3-0 until Craig Kimbrell blew it, and then blew it again in Game 4. That was the year. That's the one that's going to burn the most. But when you look at where the Phillies are now, that was their best chance to win a championship. I don't feel like running it back or making minor tweaks or something like that the Phillies are a championship team again. I'm sorry, I just don't. The more and more I talk about the Phillies situation, the more not so positive John comes out. The more sad John comes out. Not mad John, sad John. Because I like this team. And this is a good team. This isn't the year that everything falls off. 2025 is not going to be the year that everything falls off. They have a really good rotation. Hopefully Dave Dombrowski can figure out the bullpen. They still have stars that are on this roster. They still have a lot of talent. But here's really why I get sad. It is official. It's official, and it will officially be not fun to be a Phillies fan going forward. And here's why. Everything is going to be hurry up and get to the playoffs. We made the World Series run in 2022 and lost. We didn't expect that. Last year, 2023, we were expecting to get back because you just lost in the World Series. And then you had an epic collapse against the Diamondbacks. And now this year, you had a really fun regular season pretty much up until the trade deadline or the All-Star break. And it stopped being fun because we all said, oh no, are we not going to be the hot team? Are we going to be the team that we beat in 2022? Are we going to be the team that gets beaten like the Diamondbacks won in 2023? It's not going to be fun watching this team in the regular season anymore because those things don't matter. They just won the NL East. They just won a lot of regular season games. And what did we do a lot of the second half of the season? And I had to stop myself from doing it because I didn't think it was productive and I thought it was negative. Was worrying about, oh my God, what are we going to be playing like when we get to the playoffs? What are the Phillies going to look like when you get to the playoffs? Doesn't matter if you win 95 games. Doesn't matter if you win 100 games. Doesn't matter if you win the NL East. All those things are out the window. It's going to become hurry up and get to the playoffs, and then we're going to judge everything on that. And it's a tough place to be as a fan. We talked to Larry Anderson yesterday towards the end of the show, and he even said it. The expectation is World Series or bust. So if the expectation is World Series or bust, it's also hurry up and get to the playoffs. And then we'll judge everything, and then you're going to be biting your nails the whole time trying to get to the playoffs, which sucks. We did it with the Eagles. We did it with the Andy Reid Eagles. It's all almost similar to this team. They lost the NFC Championship game in 2001, which no one really thought was all that bad of a loss. They lost to a great Rams team on the road. 2002, terrible loss against the Buccaneers. 2003, that was a hurry up and get to the playoffs so we can avenge that NFC Championship game and go to the Super Bowl. And then they lost. That was a terrible season. And then T.O. came in 2004, and that made things a lot better. But still, nothing mattered in the regular season. Everything was about getting to the playoffs and getting to the NFC Championship game. That's what the Phillies have now become. The Phillies entering next year will be nothing but, all right, let's get to the playoffs. So, tough place to be as a Phillies fan because it's a really long season. It's a really long season.